Well, hey guys, what's up? It's your boy AI Legends, and today I shall be uploading another series which is going to be What if Naruto had absolute infinite chakra and was neglected and had, you can also say, many Kekkei Genkais, as much as I think which are going to be pretty strong. Those series, as he's going to have a lot of Kekkei Genkais as well. So I hope that you guys will like this series because I'm going to make this series one of the most OP series that I can, and I have a lot of different scenarios which I wanted to do in this series. So I hope that you guys will like it. So without any further ado, but before starting this video, I would like to make a request to all of you guys who are watching this video to come on guys, please subscribe to my channel, as I want to reach 10k as quick as possible, and I'm quite near to 7k. So please guys, if you guys are not subscribed or if you guys are new to this channel, please guys subscribe to my channel so that I can make a lot of progress. As well as guys, I have another channel, as you guys already know, AI Legends 2, in which I upload Dragon Ball What If. So if you guys have not subscribed to that channel, please guys do so and enjoy the Dragon Ball content as well if you guys are a fan of Dragon Ball, which I'm pretty sure that you guys are. So without any further ado, let us start our video. As it is going to be one of the neglected what ifs, as I shall start my video as the Nine Tails was roaring in the village, but in the end, Kushina had her chains all around the Nine Tails, pulling him down as Minato was ready to seal away the chakra as well as the soul of the Nine Tails within his triplets, which is going to be Menma, Mito, and Naruto, the oldest son Naruto, and then Menma, and then Mito, the third child. But third Hokage arrived before Minato could say anything. Third Hokage was already going through hand signs as he slammed his hand together, already knowing what Minato was thinking, and he's not going to allow his successor to die in such a young age, as it was his time to give his life to save the village. Before Minato could stop Third Hokage, Shinigami had already appeared behind him as Minato said, "Hiruzen, what have you done?" As Hiruzen said, well, as he smiled at Minato, "Minato, you are my successor and I simply cannot allow you to die." "What will happen if you die, huh?" "The Hokage seat and all the people here really love you. You have a family. You have just become a father, Minato," by looking toward the triplets. "So I will take the responsibility and shall die, sealing away the chakra of the Nine Tails, just as you were going to do." As Minato had a sad expression on his face as Hiruzen smiled. "Just tell me, Minato, how should I seal away the Nine Tails?" As Minato wiped away some of the tears at almost the death of his predecessor, as he said, well, at the death of his ancestor, as he said, well, seal away the half of the chakra within Menma and the remaining half in Mito, and seal away the soul and the body of the Nine Tails within Naruto. As Third Hokage was a bit confused, as Minato, after seeing that, said, well, Menma and Mito has inherited a lot of Uzumaki genes, as I can see, with the red hair, while on the other hand, Naruto seems to have taken after him the Namikaze gene, so there is no telling if Naruto could actually handle the chakra of the Nine Tails. As Third Hokage nodded, as then he finally go through final hand signs as the Nine Tail was about to stab them, but Third Hokage had already seen it, so he quickly completed the hand signs, and then the Shinigami simply ripped away half of the chakra of the Nine Tails and sealed it in Menma, and then the remaining half in Mito. And now only the body and the soul remains, as Shinigami grabbed the body and the soul of the Nine Tails and slammed it into Naruto. But at the very moment he touched Naruto, he saw something different, as for some reason he could see something strange, something unlimited that he has never felt before, even with the soul of the stage 6 path which he extracted. But this was really strange, and he cannot tell it now, but he simply shook his head, and then the soul of the Third Hokage was taken away, as Minato was really sad after that. But then Tsunade as well as Jiraiya arrived, seeing the death of their sensei. They were really sad, but Minato was happy to see Tsunade, as he said, "Little Tsunade, you have to heal Kushina, as she has just been extracted from the Nine Tails." As even though Tsunade was really sad at the moment, but Minato was right, Kushina was on the verge of death, so she quickly ran up to Kushina and then started to heal her, as Kushina was really grateful. And now we have a 4 years time skip. In this time, Minato, with his family, was living happily with his two sons, Menma and Naruto, and his daughter Mito, as all of them were treated pretty fairly, as Naruto was living a pretty happy life. And then finally the strategy finally arrived, as Jiraiya along with Tsunade arrived, as both of them had smile on their faces. After all, it was the birthday of the triplets as they were being given gifts. For some reason, Naruto always noticed that he was a bit ignored, even with his mother and his father. Though Minato and Kushina tried to love all of them equally, but there was always a bit of, you can say, favoritism to Menma and Mito, knowing that they hold the chakra and they do not want to enrage them or make them upset. If that happened, then the Nine-Tails chakra will react, so they gave them a bit of favor. But Naruto was not that sad about it. After all, he was 4 years old, so kids do not react that much in that age. After all, they have other things to deal with. As Jiraiya said, well Minato, I have something important to tell you. You too, Kushina, it is really going to be a good news to you guys. As Minato said, so what it is going to be, sensei? As Jiraiya had a smirk on his face and said, well, just come with me, Minato. As Minato as well as Kushina followed along with Tsunade, as Jiraiya said, well, you remember the prophecy that I told you, Minato, right? As Minato sighed and said, yeah, the prophecy, you thought I was the child of prophecy, but the great old toad said that I was not, right? That one? As Jiraiya had a smirk on his face and said, well Minato, I have a good news. The great old toad has finally given a new prophecy. As Minato sighed and said, what it is going to be this time, sensei? As he said, well, he has given me a prophecy that from the leaf, two new leaves will give birth to a legend and the power that shall rival or even surpass the power of the Sage of Six Parts. His power will almost be unlimited and he will not be rivaled by anyone in any generation to come or fall, as he shall be trained by the legends and his power will know no limits. As Minato thought it for some time, as Jiraiya smirked and said, well Minato, I totally believe that it is actually going to be Menma and Mito, because this part of unlimited chakra could only be referred to the chakra of the Nine Tails because of his immense power. Even with the half of the Nine Tails, it is more than powerful to take on all the Bijus. So I think that Menma and Mito are actually going to be the child of prophecy. Otherwise, there is no way that anyone could ever have unlimited chakra. As Minato thought it for some time and then he smiled and said, do you honestly believe it? As Jiraiya nodded and said, you and I both know, Minato, that the great old toad sage is really old and he has even met the Sage of Six Parts for some time. And he told us, right? As Minato sighed and said, well, he's an old toad. I can't argue with that. But still, if you totally believe it, so what should you do? As Kushina had a smile on her face, as Jiraiya said, well, he has given me the prophecy that this child is either going to save the world or going to destroy it. So I totally believe that we should start to train both Menma and Mito to become the child of prophecies, as childs of prophecy, and they are going to be strong enough to save the world when times come, Minato. So are you with me on that? As Minato smiled as well as Kushina as he said, yes, Dattebane, my children are going to save the world and they are the child of prophecy, as she was really happy about it. As Jiraiya had a smile on her face, as Tsunade also shook her head and said, well, Jiraiya, you finally found the child of prophecies, huh? As Jiraiya smiled and said, do you have any idea for how long I was searching for them? And it is about time that I get started to train them to become the strong shinobi as they will become in the future. As Minato thought it for some time, so do you want to train both of them? As Jiraiya nodded and said, yes, I'm going to train both of them so that both of them could be strong enough when the time comes to save the world. As Minato smiled and said, well, I will help as much because I'm the Hokage, so I cannot be around all the time. As Jiraiya shook his head and said, well, me and Tsunade are here. Tsunade will teach Mito the chakra control so that in the future she could also have the increased strength that Tsunade actually possesses. As Kushina was really happy and said, well, I will train both of them and then they will become the strongest shinobi of all the generations and they will control the power of the Nine Tails as well as them. A thought came to Minato and said, wait a minute, Jiraiya, what about Naruto? He is your godson as well. You have to train him right. As Kushina as well as Tsunade and Jiraiya looked towards Minato as Minato said, what is it? As Jiraiya shook his head and said, well Minato, I don't think that that's a great idea. You know that both Menma and Mito have the power of the Nine Tails inside of them and we have to train both of them with the understanding and all. And both of them have the same power. I don't know how Naruto is actually going to react or if he is even going to adopt to the training at all, because I don't think that he has that much talent. As Minato looked towards Jiraiya for some time, and how do you know that he don't have any talent, Jiraiya? And as he looked towards Jiraiya, but before he could say anything, as Jiraiya said, well Minato, it is about the world. Two of your children are the child of prophecy, and I don't think that Naruto is a part of this prophecy. I'm not telling you to ignore him or anything, but I think that in training he can wait a little bit. In the future, I will train him if you want to, but not right now, Minato. I think that both Menma and Mito need us more, as they have the power of the Nine Tails and the burden to control this power as well. As Minato, this silence Minato, as well as Kushina speak up, well Minato, we will train Naruto in time, but right now, Menma and Mito need us more. As Minato thought it for some time and sighed and said, alright. If you guys say so. As Tsunade was also happy that Minato finally understood the importance of the training of Menma and Mito. Now, we have a time skip of, you can say, let's see, 4 years more. As now, both Naruto as well as Menma and Mito are 8 years old. In this time, the neglection of Naruto finally begins. As we have a flashback for Naruto as he was 6 years old, as both of his siblings were sitting, as well as himself, as Minato as well as Kushina was standing in front of them, as well as Jiraiya and Tsunade. As then Minato said, well, today I have a good news for you guys, as we are going to start your training. As all the children were really happy, as Naruto looked towards Minato with expected eyes, because in these 2 years he started to realize that his parents were giving his siblings a bit of, you can say, favoritism. As he looked towards Minato with hopeful eyes, as he said, Dad. As Minato looked towards Naruto and said, what is it, Naruto? As Naruto said, am I going to be the part of this training as well? As a frown arrived on the face of Minato and sad expression on Kushina, as Kushina said, well, dear, you remember what I told you, right? As both of your siblings need the training right now, and we will train you, but not right now, Naruto. They need the training more, and they are special, right? I told you that. As Naruto looked down, as Minato was feeling a bit of guilt and said, well, don't worry, Naruto. We will train you when we have time, and you will train in the academy. In few years, academy is actually going to begin, and you can go there. As Naruto looked towards Minato and finally nodded, and now flashback ends as it was a party of the triplets' birthday. For Naruto, it was nothing special because most of the time, most of the clan heads that arrived in his house really did not pay much of attention to him, nor did any civilian family, even though they did not hate Naruto for containing the soul or the body of the Nine Tails, as all of them were regarded as hero, but mostly Menma and Mito for holding back the power of the Nine Tails, as they did not hate him or anything, but still, he was not given that much of importance, as Naruto, as usual, was just sitting for himself, as Menma and Mito were gathering all the gifts that were just given to them with huge smirks on their faces, as Naruto sighed, as he has a, you can say, memory. Most of the time, he was just simply teased by his so-called siblings, telling him that how he was a loser and they were the actual deal, the special childrens, and they are so special that they don't even need him in the family. This always hurts Naruto, but he did not say anything to either of them, even though he tried to befriend both of them, but even though they were his siblings, but never paid any mind to him, simply ignored him, calling him a loser, and nothing more than a loser. This always hurt Naruto a lot, even though he knew about this so-called secret up there, about the Nine Tails and all, because he liked to read a lot and liked to sneak around. So he was able to gather a bit and here and there. After all, both Minato and Kushina talk about it time to time and check the seals on Menma and Mito quite often. So he was able to gather some information that both of them had the power of the Nine Tails inside of them. And thanks to all the readings he liked to do in his free time, because his parents are so busy with both Menma and Mito being the child and prophecy and all, so he do not get a lot of time with his family as well. So he just simply like to read and all. So right now, it was his birthday and all the clan heads were gathered, and then Minato arrived and said, well, today I'm going to make a very important announcement to all of you guys, as all the clan heads were looking towards Minato, as Minato smiled. Today I declare Menma as the heir to the Namikaze clan and Mito to the heir of the Uzumaki clan, as everyone started to clap. While on the other hand, Naruto was in utter shock how it does not make sense, as in his mind all of these emotions were simply gathering around. Most of the people were simply cheering, while on the other hand, in the Uchiha family, Itachi was looking towards Naruto, as Here, he was not a stupid person like others, as well as Shisui, who was there, as both of them simply looked towards each other in utter shock that how Hokage could even do this. Both of them know the law that if the said clan heir is removed from the seat of the clan heir, therefore he is removed from the clan itself. And when they looked towards Naruto, they saw the pure horror and utter, you can say, disappointment and shock on his face. For some reason, Itachi and Shisui could tell that Naruto knows the law, as Naruto simply gripped the glass in his hand so tight that it broke, shattered into pieces. But people were still clapping for Man Mito, as both of them were giving them different poses like Uzumaki's they were, as Naruto, pure anger receded in his eyes, and then he simply went out of the house, as no one even noticed. Only Itachi and Shisui noticed that, as both of them simply looked towards each other and simply vanished after Naruto, as Naruto was running in the village. And finally he arrived on the top of the Hokage monument, as he was looking down upon the village, as pure sadness was in his eyes. All of these years he was simply ignored by his family, telling him that how his siblings were special and they need training and all that, but he was ignored, not even given training. As a matter of fact, he was not even taught it, you can say, simple training in which he had to unlock his chakra. So all of his chakra was still in his body, so he was never able to even unlock it. And that is the main point of the story, that is, as Itachi and Shisui arrive, as Itachi speak up, "Hey Naruto, how are you?" As Naruto looked towards Itachi and said, "Hey Itachi," as he has been introduced to Itachi as before, as well as Shisui, his best friend, so he know both of them. As Itachi said, "So, are you okay?" As Naruto simply chuckled and gave him a fake smile and said, "Yeah, I'm fine. Why do you ask?" As Itachi said, "So, what are you doing here, Naruto? Isn't that your party of birthday?" As Naruto simply chuckled at the name of birthday and said, "Well, it could be, but mostly my parents do not care. So right now they are on the party of Man Mito, you can mostly call it. And I didn't even receive any gifts or anything," as he was talking and trying his best to hide his tears and all by looking away, while Shisui and Itachi could easily see that, as Itachi smiled and said, "Well Naruto, here, have this." As Naruto looked back to see a scroll in the hand of Itachi, as Naruto looked towards Itachi with confused eyes as he said, "What is it, Itachi?" As Itachi said, "Well, it is a training exercise to how to unlock your chakra and some basic chakra control training." As Naruto's eyes widened, all of this time he asked his parents that he want to unlock his chakra, but every time he tell either Kushina or Minato or Jiraiya or Tsunade, they just simply told him that he will do this on the academy, while on the other hand Man Mito had already unlocked their chakra at the age of 6 and they were training with it all of these 2 years. And every time he asked his parents that he want to unlock his chakra, he was always refused. He did not even had any knowledge how to do so, just that he had to do it to perform any jutsu in the future. But no one ever told him, as Naruto had a smile on his face as he stood up. "Thanks Itachi, it really is a lot." As he looked towards Itachi, holding back the tears that were in his eyes, as Itachi smiled and said, "Well Naruto, with my Sharingan, I can easily notice that you did not unlock your chakra, but I do wonder why is that." As sadness, pure sadness came to Naruto's eyes, and Itachi quickly regretted his question, as Shisui simply shook his head, knowing how stupid of a question it actually was, and both of them already knew the answer of it. As Naruto said, "Well, my parents are always busy training Man Mito, telling me that how they are actually special about something and they need more training." As a frown arrived even on the stoic face of Itachi and Shisui, and so I never unlocked my chakra. They told me that I will do it in academy. As Itachi simply shook his head and said, "Well Naruto, you can do this with this scroll. And guess what, even Shisui has a present for you." As Shisui arrived, as he smiled at Naruto and said, "Hey Naruto, remember me?" As Naruto simply smiled, as Shisui said, "Well, here's your gift," and it was a scroll. As he said, "Well, I don't know what your chakra nature is actually going to be, but here are some fire jutsus in the scroll." As Naruto smiled as he grabbed the scroll and said, "Thank you." As both of them simply smiled, as Itachi said, "Well Naruto, you should leave, I suppose, as you should go to your home." As Naruto smiled and then finally went back to his house. As now he was thinking about things, that how things are actually going on. His siblings are simply getting stronger and stronger. as he finally arrived at his house, as he saw that all the presents were for Menma and Mito, as it was name written on it, as Naruto tried to find something if it was given to him anything, but it was nothing. But he simply shook his head. After all, now he has two scrolls, and he can learn things from these scrolls. And he's going to unlock his chakra, and then going to do the chakra control and all that, and will become a strong shinobi. As a smile arrived on the face of Naruto as he went to his home and started to his room and started to, you can say, read the scrolls how to unlock their chakra. As then both Menma and Mito, as his doors simply slam open as both Menma and Mito arrive. Hey loser, did you get any gift or what? As both of them were simply laughing as Mito noticed the two scrolls which Naruto tried to hide. As Mito said, wait a minute, how did you get those, huh? And who gave you? As Menma said, huh, so you're trying to hide it from us, loser. As he grabbed both of the scrolls and pulling it away from Naruto. As Naruto said, those are mine. As Mito just simply laughed and said, who's the loser who gave something to you, loser? Huh? It must be ours, and you must have stolen it. As Menma smirked, huh? That's how to unlock your chakra, huh? And the other one, as he opened it, as his eyes widened, huh? The fire jutsus. I bet someone in the Uchiha clan must have given it to you. I never liked those losers. As well as Mito simply smiled, and then Menma said, huh? You like fire jutsus, don't you, Naruto? Here, have one. As he quickly go through hand signs, and then small fire came from his mouth, burning both of the scroll. As Naruto saw in utter shock and horror, as both of his gifts of how to unlock his chakra and the fire techniques which he got from Shisui simply were burnt off. As in pure anger, Naruto became angry and said, why you? As he launched towards Menma, punching him on his face. As Menma was sent flying, as Mito said, hey, as she tried to kick him, but Naruto simply dodged, even with, you can say, without even unlocking their chakra. As Naruto was able to dodge the first attack, but then Mito kicked him away as Menma stood up as his eyes shaded red as pure anger arrived in his face as he punched Naruto on his face, sending him flying into the wall. As the ninth chakra that was released from both Menma and Mito, suddenly Minato as well as Kushina arrived as both of them grabbed Menma and Mito as both of them were in pure anger. As Minato said, what is going on here? As he grabbed Menma, as Menma said, this damn loser tried to hit me. As well as Mito said, yeah, he was jealous that we were given gifts and he was not. As Naruto stood up as blood was leaking from his nose and from his mouth as he said, that is not, they burnt the gift that were given to me. But before he could say anything, a slap was placed on his face, sending him flying into the same wall as it was Kushina. As he said, Naruto, I told you not to hit your siblings, and that is not how the way to treat your siblings. As she was pretty angry that Naruto made both of them angry and they had to unleash the ninth chakra. What would happen if the seal broke? Then the ninth would be released. As Minato said, Kushina, calm down. As Kushina said, Minato, you go and I shall talk with him. As Minato simply sighed as he both grabbed both Menma and Mito. As then Kushina looked towards Naruto as tears were arriving in the corner of the eyes of Naruto. As then Kushina said, listen to me, young boy. Next time you try to hit Menma and Mito, you are definitely going to pay for it. I will not tolerate this insolence. Do you hear me, Naruto? As Naruto was looking simply down, and tears were simply coming to his eyes, but his hairs were simply shadowing his tears. As Kushina said, I will take that as yes. Just keep that in mind, Naruto. As she finally stormed out of his room as Naruto simply slipped down as blood was still coming from his nose and his mouth. His so-called parents did not even notice it. They were more concerned about Menma and Mito leaking the demonic chakra as Naruto simply sobbed a little and then in the ground he finally, you can say, fell asleep after crying a little, and then he was surprised to see he arrived in a sewer as he was a bit confused about it as he started to walk into it as water was everywhere and this place seems to be pretty, you can say, not comfortable. As he started to walk and then he arrived at a big gate with a kanji of seal that was placed upon him as his eyes widened when two red eyes were simply staring at him. As Naruto said, who are you? What are you? And then the light could be seen as the nine tails was sitting inside of the cage. As Naruto's eyes widened and he said, what? Nine tails? But how? As Nine Tails looked towards him and scrawled and said, well, My name is not the Nine Tails, brat. My name is Kurama, and you will address me as such. As Naruto was pretty confused when he heard the voice, as he thought that the tail beasts were nothing more than monsters and mindless creatures as them. Kurama said, "Well, I wanted to talk to you for a long time. It seemed that this time you are able to enter in your mindscape without even unlocking." As Naruto was pretty shocked and scared at the same time, as Kurama said, "Well, I wanted to meet you for a long time." As Naruto looked towards him, "But how? Where am I? It is a dream, right?" As Kurama simply chuckled and said, "Well, it is no dream, kid, and allow me to explain all the things." As Kurama started to explain that how he is actually the soul and the body of the Nine Tails, and while on the other hand his chakra has simply been sealed into his siblings Manma and Mito. As Naruto's eyes widened and said, "So my parents hate me?" By looking down, as Kurama simply chuckled, "Well, I don't think that they hate you or anything. They are simply obsessed with my power, just as I thought those pathetic mortals even treating one of their own only because he do not have my power. Well, it is a really strange condition, to be honest. It is always the Jinchurikis are hated, but here the Jinchurikis are given pretty special treatment, while one of them is simply left away because he do not have my power." As Naruto looked towards him pretty confused and said, "So how?" As he was out of words, as Kurama simply chuckled and said, "Well, you must have thought that I was a mindless beast and a monster, nothing more than that, right?" As Naruto said, but you destroyed the village." As Kurama simply snorted and said, "Don't remind me of that. That damn Uchiha controlled me with his Sharingan and put me in the village to destroy it." As Naruto's eyes widened, "So it was an Uchiha who controlled you?" As Kurama nodded and said, "Well, their accursed eye has the power to control even someone like me." As Naruto looked towards Kurama for some time, as he said, "Why are you telling me this? If you are this friendly, why do you attack people? And why people are afraid of you?" As Kurama looked towards him for some time and said, "To be honest, kid, I'm a being of great power, but for some reason you are pretty special." As Naruto looked towards Kurama, pretty confused, as he said, "Well, you are truly special, kid. To be honest, all of this time I was here. In the beginning, I was pretty angry about it, but then it struck me." As Naruto looked towards Kurama, pretty confused, as Kurama said, "Well, that is a information I will not tell you just yet, but your power is something, really something else. Your chakra is so much and so powerful that you do not even imagine it." As Naruto looked towards him, "My chakra? But I have not even unlocked it." As Kurama said, "That is the point, kid. It has been not unlocked because it is too much that normal control and normal exercise will not do it. As your chakra is growing at an exponential rate, even right now you are only 8 years old, and right now your chakra reserves already more than half of the Shikaku power." As Naruto's eyes widened, as Kurama said, "Well, Shikaku is a one-tailed beast, and your chakra has already surpassed half of its power, and it is growing at exponential rate. I dare say, brat, that one day your chakra might even meet my own power." Not wanting to admit that this kid has the potential to even surpass his own chakra level. As Naruto's eyes widened, "Really?" As Kurama looked towards him, "Well, kid, it was long said by my old man, you can say, the one who created me." As Naruto looked towards him and said, "The Sage of Six Paths." As Naruto's eyes widened, he read about him. After all, he was the father of all shinobi. As Kurama said, "Well, don't disrupt me now, Naruto." As he said, "Well, he told me that one day a child shall born who shall bring peace and unite all the bijus. And I believe that it is you, kid. I can sense a bit of my old man's power within you. It seems that he has really gifted you with a lot of power. You just have to control it in time. And I am here to tell you how to control your power." As Naruto looked towards Kurama for some time, as he said, "So your name is Kurama, right?" As Kurama simply smirked, or you can say smiled, his foxy grin. As Naruto said, "So are you going to train me how to control my power?" As Kurama smiled and said, "Yes, I'm going to train you, but for that you have to leave this village." As Naruto's eyes widened, as he said, "What do you mean, leave this village?" As he said, "Well, your power is too great. If you are to unlock your chakra here, I bet whole village of shinobi will see it, and then come to see who is the one who has this much power, and it will really upset your siblings as well that you have been given praise and things like that. And I don't think that it is going to be that great, kid, as Naruto thought it for some time and said, well, to be honest, Kurama, for a long time I was thinking of leaving this place as well. As Kurama looked towards him, a bit of surprise, but not that much. After all, he is the one living inside of this kid body, and he knows what is going to come. As Naruto said, so I have to leave this village. So you are the one who's going to train me, right? As Kurama said, well, don't worry. I will lead you to a location where you can train all you want, and there will be things which will help you to train and to get strong, really, really strong. As Naruto smiled and said, alright, I will become strong, and one day I will come in this village to prove everyone that I am strong, that I am the one who's special, not those Menma and Mito with a scarf on their face. As Kurama simply smirked and said, well, kid, don't let the hatred take over you, even though I'm a being of hatred myself, but I will not like to see you follow that path as well. As Naruto looked towards Kurama and smiled, don't worry, I will become the one to save this world with a thumbs up. Datte I just wanted to do that. As Kurama smiled and said, alright, pack your things up, we are leaving. As Naruto smiled and then finally he packed all of his things and finally went out of the house. As no one even realized, because he was able to pass through the gates in the shifting in between, and not many were that you can say interested in this kid, as it was the party of the sons and daughter of the fourth Hokage, so most of the Ambos were there, and there were few, as Naruto was able to escape thanks to some of the sensory ability that Kurama was able to push forcefully, and Naruto was able to sneak away and finally outside of the village as he started to run, as Kurama started to lead him into a direction, as he even forced some of his chakra to activate, or forced a bit of chakra that he was able to gather all of his time, as Menma and Mito were leaking chakra and it was returning back to him. Right now he barely have 5% of his chakra, but still he was able to force some of the chakra within the legs and telling him the right direction, as Naruto was simply going through. As none, now we have a 1 month time skip. In this 1 month, as Menma and Mito were training with Jiraiya and Tsunade at the same rate, as well as Kushina and Minato were training, as now they were standing, as Minato had arrived home early, as he smiled and said, well, today I'm going to treat my family to ramen, right? As both Menma and Mito screamed yes, as well as Kushina was really happy. As then Minato thought it for some time and said, well, where is Naruto? Maybe he should join us as well, thinking in his mind that it has been some time he has seen his son and it would be great to know of him. As Kushina also thought the same, a bit you can say sad expression in her eyes, remembering last time it did not went too good with her son, as both Menma and Mito simply looked towards each other and then both of them simply burst into laughter, as both Minato as well as Kushina were confused about it as they looked towards Menma and Mito, as Menma stopped and said, well, what are you guys talking about? The loser is gone, and he has been gone for a long time. As Mito laughed and said, yeah, I have not seen him from the night of birthday. It has been a month, right, Menma? As Menma laughed and said, huh, yeah, I bet that this time that loser has gone permanently. After all, he has no place here. As both of them were laughing, while on the other hand, pure face of horror and utter shock was placed on both Minato as well as Kushina, as Minato burst into the room of Naruto. From the look of it, it was like most of the things of the kid were simply gone. They were not there, as Minato was looking all around the place as he said, Naruto, as he simply burst into the washroom, wanted to see if Naruto was there, but not even there. From the look of the room, it was like this place was not clean for a whole month, as if you can say pure utter shock and horror came even to Kushina's eyes when she also realized that Naruto was not there and has been not there for a long time. From the, you can say, how the room was, as Minato simply flashed away as he arrived in his office, as he said, Ambu, as all the Ambus landed beside him and said, scatter through the village and search for Naruto now, as Ambus looked towards him and then simply nodded and then vanished, as Minato grabbed the crystal ball of the third Hokage in the office as he started to use his chakra in the wanted to see if he can find Naruto in the whole village. He was trying desperately, but nothing was coming on. Even Kushina arrived. Minato, have you found him? As Minato said, no, damn it, the crystal ball is not finding him. This only meant that as he is not in the village, as Ambu landed beside Lord Hokage we have found, as well as sent several shinobis and ambus, but I'm afraid we are not able to find him. After 3 years of search across whole village, as Minato was in utter shock, even his own crystal ball was not able to find Naruto. This only meant that kid was out of the village, as it simply, you can say, pure anger arrived in his eyes as he slammed a punch into the table, breaking it apart as he said, damn it, but how? How did he even leave the village? It does not make sense. As Ambus simply looked towards each other, not knowing what to say to their leader, as Minato simply flashed away once again as he arrived in front of Jiraiya, who was in the bar, as well as Tsunade. As he said, Jiraiya sensei, it is something important, come with me. As Jiraiya looked towards Minato, hey Minato, what is it? Is it about the boys or Menman Mito? As for a moment, Minato became angry, as then the desperate look in his eyes and said, forget about Menman Mito for a moment, sensei, just simply come, as he placed hands on both Tsunade as well as Jiraiya, flashing into the office, as both Jiraiya as well as Tsunade were confused. As Jiraiya said, what is it, Naruto? What is it, Minato? Are both Menman Mito okay? As Minato said, it is not about Menman Mito, it's about Naruto. As Jiraiya said, what about that kid? As Minato said, he has left the village. As Tsunade, as well as Jiraiya's eyes widened, as Jiraiya said, what, Minato? What are you talking about? How? How did he even left the village? As Minato said, I don't know. I have told the Ambus to search him, as well as not even the crystal ball is able to find him. As Tsunade said, well, we can send tracker teams after him. How did and when did he left the village? As then Kushina said, as the pure utter shock, as well as you can say horror was placed upon Tsunade's face as when Kushina said, I think it's 1 month. As Tsunade said, what? 1 month? Are you kidding me, Kushina? He lives in your house and you're telling me this now? When did you even find it out? As Kushina said, just today. As Minato also was looking guilty, as Tsunade just simply looked towards them in utter shock as he said, but how? He lives in your house. You did not even realize that he was not there, and after 1 month? As Tsunade was in utter shock as Jiraiya said, just simply calm down, Suna. You know that the training of Menma and Mito is really important, so they must have been busy about it, right, Minato? As Tsunade said, it does not matter, Jiraiya, are you out of your mind? Are you telling me that these parents had just find out after the 1 month of the kid gone missing and they had just realized that they even have the third child? And are you telling me to calm down now? As she was in pure utter rage right now. As Jiraiya even took a step back, as Minato said, shook his head and said, well, it does not matter. As Ambu landed, as he said, gather the best tracker team and bring it here right now. As the Ambu nodded as he went off, as Tsunade was glaring at Kushina as well as Minato, as he said, Minato, I really did not expect this from you, at least. As I knew that the obsession you guys were simply getting on Menma and Mito was absurd, and I tried to warn you over and over again, didn't I, Jiraiya? But I never thought that it was this much that you would not even notice the absence of your very own son for a whole month, and I bet that someone even reminded you guys that you guys even have a son, right, Minato? Kushina, as both of them were simply looking down in pure utter shame, as Jiraiya said, well, you know, Sona, the importance both Menma and Mito have, it's about the world, and I cannot blame Minato as well as Kushina about it. Even we were there and we did not saw the kid, and it was pretty usual, right? And this even brought more shame as well as guilt in the heart of Minato. He was cursing even believing the damn prophecy for a single moment. As a pure rage arrived in his eyes and said, that is enough. As the Ambos arrived and said, Lord Hokage, we have gathered the team. As Minato said, alright, here's some clothes of Naruto, just find him. As all of them nodded and went off. Now, let us go to Naruto's side. As after 3 days of travel, he was finally able to arrive in a location. As it was a destroyed place, as it was none other than Uzugakure. As Naruto entered into the place, as he felt something on his body, as He said, what is that, Kurama? I felt something strange. As Kurama said, well, that was a barrier. And since you have Uzumaki blood in you, you are not just exploded from inside out. As Naruto simply gulped and said, and you did not told me about it before? As Kurama simply chuckled, well kid, that is one of the most powerful barrier protecting this place for a long time. Only an Uzumaki, who are the one who has the Uzumaki blood running through his vein, can enter in this place. Those who try to do otherwise simply shall die. As Naruto simply nodded, as he started a walk, as Kurama said, well, this is a place of the destroyed land of the Uzugakure. As Naruto nodded, already knowing about the history of the Uzumaki clan and the war in which they were simply wiped out. As Kurama said, alright kid, go there. As it was a building, somewhat you can say, still standing after the whole destruction that appeared here. As Naruto said, it looked like the Hokage office, is it not, Kurama? As Kurama nodded and said, well, I bet that there would be some things. Or you can stay there for some time if you want to, and this is the place where your training shall begin. Even though this place is ruined, but it is one of the most secure places in the whole world, even right now. As Naruto nodded, as he said, so my training will begin here, huh? As Kurama nodded and said, when you unlock your chakra, I bet it is going to burst in a wave of power, and I believe that it is going to be sensed even across some of the nearby nations and some of the shinobis that were around. So I believe that this barrier should be able to hold the power inside and it would not be sensed outside. And all this training you are going to go through here, I believe that all the equipment you will be able to find here and everything and some scrolls here and there. I believe that even if there are no scrolls, I am here and I will be able to teach a lot of things. As Naruto simply smiled, thanks Kurama. It really meant a lot to me. As Kurama simply chuckled and said, well, I'm only doing this for the old man, but with a, you can say, moving his head away. As Naruto simply smiled and said, well, if you say so. That is, as he put his back down and then entered into the building of the Uzugakure. Okay guys, here I will left this part. Hope you guys like it. Please like and subscribe. If you guys want the next part of this series, then the like goal is going to be 300 likes, and the comment goal, especially the guys comment goal, I want 130 comments in the comment section. If there are not, then you guys have to wait for some days and I will upload the video when I will see fit. But if you guys want the next part as quick as possible or even today, then you guys have to do 150 comments. If I get that in some time, then I might upload the next part today. Otherwise you guys have to wait for some time. So I hope that you guys like this series. So please guys subscribe and like and comment. Peace.